This afternoon, we are going to listen to three very interesting lectures on the very beginnings of our topic, yani the Battle of Marj Dabiq and its echoes in the East and in the West. And we will have three speakers today. In this session, we have Professor Feridun Emejen, Professor Dejani Rakuto, and Professor Emrah Safa Gürkan. So we start with Professor Feridun Emejen. He is going to speak in Turkish, but the PowerPoint that you can follow his lecture in English on the PowerPoint in front of you. Now, Professor Emejen graduated from Istanbul University in 1979, and then he took his PhD in 1985. And he wrote on the social and economic history of Manisa in the 16th century. He was a professor at the University of Istanbul at the Department of History. And then now he is, until 2012, and he is currently now teaching at the University of 29 Mayıs. And he is a permanent member of the Turkish Academy of Science and an honorary member of the Turkish Historical Association. He is very well published and very well known in the field, and it is my pleasure. Please join me in welcoming Professor Emejen.
Thank you very much. Değerli meslektaşlar, metnimi İngilizcesini aktardığım için metne bağlı olarak okumak durumundayım. Onun için özellikle Türk meslektaşlarımızdan özür dilerim. Osmanlılar ile Mısır merkezli bir devlet kurmuş olan Memlükler arasında yapılan ve Memlük Devleti'nin sonunu hazırlayan savaşların ilkini oluşturan Mercidabık Savaşı sadece sonuçları itibariyle değil, aynı zamanda sebepleri bakımından da üzerine durulması gereken konulardan birini oluşturur. İki Sünni devlet arasında cereyan eden savaş yalnızca ekonomik çıkarlar, geleceğe yönelik büyük planlamalar ve Osmanlıların cihan hakimiyeti düşüncelerinin bir parçası olma durumu gibi yüksek idealli stratejilerin bir muhassalası olmaktan çok konjonktürel olarak Doğu Anadolu'da meydana gelen yeni askeri gelişmelerin bir sonucu gibi gözükür. Bu tebliğde Osmanlılara İslam dünyasının ana kalbini kazandıran bir seri hadisenin başlangıcını oluşturan Mercidabık Savaşı'nın gerçekte hangi zeminde ve ne gibi meseleleri zorlayıcı etkisi altında vuku bulduğu yolunda bazı fikirlerimi sizinle paylaşmaya çalışacağım. Konuya girmeden önce kısaca Osmanlı-Memlük çekişmesinin tarihi seyrine zannediyorum bakmak yerinde olacak. Mısır merkezli olarak bugünkü Suriye ve Filistin'e, Güneydoğu Anadolu'ya kadar olan coğrafyaya hakim olan Memlük Sultanlığı ile Osmanlılar arasında Osmanlı Beyliği'nin kuruluş yıllarına kadar uzanan sağlam bağ, Yıldırım Bayezid'in Malatya'ya kadar uzanmasının getirdiği kısa bir sarsılma dönemi hariç, Fatih Sultan Mehmed'in haç güzergahındaki su yolları ile ilgili girişimlerine kadar herhangi bir ciddi krize dönüşmeksizin devam etti. Anadolu'daki diğer benzeri beylikler gibi Osmanlılar da meşruiyet iddialarında Kahire'deki halifeden ve Memlük sultanlarından alacakları desteğe büyük önem veriyorlardı. Mısır'daki Abbasi halifelerinin statüleri tartışmalı olsa da bu durum Anadolu'daki Türkmen beylikleri için bir anlam ifade etmiyordu. Onlar açısından mühim olan aralarındaki rekabette üstünlük iddialarına karşı meşru dayanak sağlayacak bir merciğin varlığıydı. Özellikle Osmanlıların Orta Anadolu'daki güçlü rakipleri olan ve ayrıca Memlüklerle de sınırdaş bulunan Karamanoğulları arasındaki rekabet ve mücadelesinde söz konusu destek arayışları daha da önem kazanmış görünüyor. O dönemde Memlüklerin Anadolu'ya olan ilgileri hayli fazlaydı. Doğu Anadolu'da Divriği ve Harput'tan Malatya'ya, Maraş'a, Urfa'ya, Antep'e, kilise oradan Adana ve Tarsus ve Antakya'ya kadar uzanan kesim üzerinde nüfuzları yoğundu. Bu bölgenin sınırlarında da güçlü etkileri mevcuttu. Fatih Sultan Mehmet devrinde baş gösteren gerilimin ardından 2. Bayezid döneminde Çukurova'daki mücadelede Osmanlı kuvvetleri başarı kazanamadı. Ancak Adana merkezli Ramazan oğulları ile Dulkadiroğulları arasındaki himaye siyasetleri iki devleti karşı karşıya getiren ana meseleler olarak arada yapılan anlaşmaya rağmen çekişmeyi canlı tuttu. Bununla beraber İslam'ın mukaddes yerlerine yönelik Portekiz tehdidi karşısında Memlüklerin yardım talepleri aradaki bütün çekişmeleri bir tarafa bırakan 2. Bayezid tarafından dini bir heyecanla kabul edildi. Selman Reis liderliğinde bazı gemi yapım ustaları 1000 kadar Anadolu levendiyle tüfek, barut gibi silahların sevkinde herhangi bir mahsur görülmedi. Yavuz Sultan Selim tahta çıktığında 1501 yılından beri Memlük Sultanı olan Kansu, ben bu ismi Kanısav diye olduğunu düşünüyorum. Kanısav Gavri, aradaki ilişkilerin dostane cereyanına özen göstermeye çalışmışsa da sınırlarında zuhur eden yeni bir dini siyasi güç olarak Safevilerin varlığının ve onların Osmanlılarla girdikleri mücadelenin mahiyetini zannıma göre tam olarak kavrayamamış durumdaydı. İşte esas olarak bütün fırtına bu üç devletin, Osmanlıların, Memlüklerin ve Safevilerin birbiriyle zıt farklı ideolojik çıkarlarının çakışmasıyla kopacaktır. Bunda özellikle Osmanlıların kendi dini inanışları için büyük bir tehlike olarak gördükleri Şah İsmail'in faaliyetleri, kanaatime göre Osmanlılara belki de beklenmedikleri bir şekilde Fatih Sultan Mehmet zamanından beri hayal ettikleri fakat hareket alanı düşünüldüğünde, ki bu çok mühim bir meseledir, gerçekleştirilmesi çok güç olan Arap dünyasının ve haremeynin himayesini temin edecek ortamı hazırlayacaktır. Bunun Yavuz Sultan Selim tarafından inceden inceye düşünüldüğü ve ona göre hazırlık yapılarak sefere çıkıldığı, ana hedefin Mısır olduğu fikrini taşımadığımı peşinen belirtmeliyim. Memlükleri hedef alan bir sefer olarak tasarlandığı görüşünü ileri süren Osmanlı kaynaklarının bu seferin başarıyla gerçekleşmesinden sonra kaleme alınmış olduğunu unutmamak gerekir. Bu kaynakların yönlendirmesi altında modern tarihçiler cazip gelen bu bilginin sarsılmaz bir paradigma haline gelişini sağlamış gözükmektedir. Peki gerçekte Sultan Selim niçin bu sefere çıkmıştır? Acaba hangi gelişmeler Kahire'ye kadar uzanan bir uzun soluklu seferin icrasına yol açmıştır? Öncelikle bu suallerin cevabının Osmanlı Safevi ve Safevi Memlük ilişki ağı içinde aranması gerektiğini düşünmekteyim. Bu hususta çağdaş Memlük tarihçisi İbn-i İyas'ın naklettiği hadiselere bir göz atmak lazım. Ona göre Çaldıran Savaşı'na kadar 1510-1514 arasında Memlük Sultanı ile Şah İsmail'in arasındaki ilişkiler pek de iyi seyretmiyordu. 1510'da Şah İsmail'in Memlükler üzerine yürüyeceği şayiaları Kahire'de yayılmıştı. 1511'de de Osmanlı Memlük Müşterek Kuvvetleri bazı Safevi güçlerine karşı birlikte harekat düzenlemişti. Aynı yılın Haziran'ında Kahire'ye gelen Safevi elçisinin dostluk tezahürlerine rağmen sınır boylarında Gavri'nin canını sıkan haberler gelmeye başlamıştı. 1512'de Şah İsmail'e yolladığı elçinin geri dönüşünde yanına verilen Safevi elçisinin getirdiği mektuptaki üslup da Gavri'yi rahatsız etmişti. Buna cevabı da aynı şekilde sert olmuştu. Artık iki devlet arasında gerginlik has safhaya ulaşmıştı. Fakat 1514'te Yavuz Sultan Selim'in Çaldıran Seferi arifesinde Şah İsmail'e karşı birlikte harekete geçme teklifini sessizlikle karşılamayı tercih edecekti. Hatta emirlerle yaptığı toplantıda tarafsızlık politikası izlemesi, her ihtimale karşı da bir ordunun Halep'e yollanması kararı alınmıştı. Öyle anlaşılıyor ki Sultan Gavri her iki devleti de büyük bir tehdit olarak görmekteydi. Ayrıca kendisine sığınmış Osmanlı şehzadelerini himayesi altına almıştı. Kardeşleriyle zorlu bir taht mücadelesi yapan Sultan Selim bu şehzadelerin durumlarını dikkatle takip ettiriyordu. Bir bakıma Safevilerin Anadolu üzerindeki emellerine set çeken Çaldıran zaferi sonuçları itibariyle doğuda yeni bir gerilime yol açacak gelişmelerin başlangıcı olmaya zaten aday durumdaydı. Nitekim az sonra Memlüklerin Güneydoğu Anadolu'ya uzanan sınırlarına kadar inen Osmanlı-Safevi çatışmaları ve bundan büyük endişe duyan Sultan Gavri'nin Halep'e gelişi her şeyi değiştirdi. Ve büyük ihtimalle de Safevilerle kozunu tekrar paylaşmak isteyen ve bu amaçla yola çıkan Sultan Selim'in zihninde önceden pek de planlamadığı yeni bir düşüncenin tohumlarını ekti. Halep'e gelip aynı zamanda Osmanlı hudutlarına yaklaşan Sultan Gavri'nin yanında Osmanlı tahtına aday olabilecek konumdaki Şehzade Kasım'ın bulunduğu haberleri de Osmanlı tarafı için aleni bir düşmanlık olarak algılandı. Sultan Gavri tahtaki Osmanlı padişahlarının kendilerine alternatif olabilecek hanedan mensubu üyelerine karşı olan tavizsiz tutumlarını bile bile kaçak şehzadeleri himaye etti. Mısır gibi hilafet merkezinde Osmanlı şehzadelerinin varlığı taht meşruiyetine büyük önem veren padişahlar için kabul edilemez bir olguydu. Hele Sultan Selim'in buna tepki vermemesi hiç beklenemezdi. Sultan Selim'in taht mücadelesi yaptığı ağabeyi Şehzade Ahmet'in oğullarından Süleyman ve Alaaddin Mısır'a sığınmış ancak 1513'te vebaya yakalanarak hayatlarını kaybetmişlerdi. Şehzadelerin cenazelerine bizzat katılan Sultan Gavri, Ahmet'in diğer bir oğlu Kasım'ı gizlice Kahire'ye getirtmişti. Bunun dışında Sultan Selim'in Maraş merkezli Dulkadır toprakları üzerindeki iddiaları ve Dulkadırlı Alaaddin Devle'yi ortadan kaldırması bu kesimle öteden beri ilgili olan Memlükler için endişe verici olmuştu. Sultan Gavri'nin Halep'e inerken bu meseleyi de zihninde sıcak tuttuğu açıktır. Dulkadır oğulları meselesi dolayısıyla Kahire'ye gelen Osmanlı elçilerinin getirdikleri mektuplar Memlük Sultanı'nı çok telaşlandırmış görünmektedir. Dönemin Memlük tarihçisi İbn-i İyas, söz konusu elçilikler dolayısıyla yapılan diplomatik görüşmelerin sebep olduğu dedikoduları yansıtır ve saraya yakın çevrelerde Sultan Selim'in kendisini Gavri'den üstün tuttuğu ve onu zımnen aşağıladığı rivayetlerinin dolaşmakta bulunduğunu belirtir. Buna karşılık Gavri, Sultan Selim'e yolladığı mektupta Alaaddin Devle'nin kendi himayesinde olduğunu, daha önce Kahire'de asılmış olan Dulkadırlı Şehsuvar Bey'in oğlu Ali'nin padişah tarafından korunarak ona Kayseri ve Bozok gibi Dulkadırlı etkisindeki iki yerin sancak olarak verilmesinin fesada yol açacağını, üstelik de Dulkadırlı vilayetinde Memlük Sultanı'nın adının hutbelerde okunması gerektiğini bildirmişti. Rivayete göre buna sinirlenen Sultan Selim Memlük elçisine hayli ağır konuşmuştu. İbn-i İyas bu vesileyle 1. Selim'in Kahire'yi hedef aldığı ve hazırlık yapmakta olduğu yolundaki şaiyalara temas ediyor. Yazdıklarına göre Dulkadıroğlu Alaaddin Devle'nin kesik başının bir mektupla Kahire'ye yollanması Sultan Gavri'yi çok şaşırtmıştı. Osmanlı elçilerine bunun bir kafir hükümdarının başı olmadığını, bu bakımdan kendisinin önüne bırakılmasının yakışık almadığını bildirmişti. Tepkisi ancak bununla sınırlı kaldıysa da hadiseler artık onun Selim'in bütün hareketlerinden kendi aleyhine bir mana çıkarabilecek bir halet-i ruhiye içinde bulunduğuna delalet edecek şekilde gelişmeye başladı. Mısır seferi öncesinde Osmanlı padişahının aksi yöndeki yani yeni bir İran seferine çıkılacağı yolundaki beyanlarına rağmen hazırlıklarını öğrenir öğrenilmez süratle sınırlara yakın bir yere gelmiş olmasının ardında yatan sebepler yine kanaatime göre Yavuz Sultan Selim'e karşı olan güvensizliğinin açık bir belirtisidir. Hatta bu amaçla Şah İsmail ile mektuplaşması ve gizliden gizliye elçilik teatisi belki de olayların hiç beklenmediği şekilde yol almasına sebep olacaktır. Memlük Sultanı'nın bu fikirlerinde haklı olup olmadığı konusuna gelince, demin sözünü etmiş olduğum gibi Mısır seferinin gerçekleştirilmesinden sonra olayları yazan çağdaş kaynakların ortak kanaati Selim'in Mısır'ı ele geçirmeyi düşündüğü ama bu seferin planını Mısır'a değil Şah İsmail'in faaliyetlerini izlemek, gerekirse onun bulunduğu yere yani Bağdat'a kadar gitmek olarak belirlediği yolundadır. Mısır hiç şüphe yok ki belki de Fatih Sultan Mehmet'ten bu yana Osmanlı padişahlarının İslam dünyasında liderliği ele geçirme ve tek önemli güç haline gelme isteklerinin en önde gelen anahtarı durumundaydı. Bilhassa her üç semavi dinin kutsal yerlerinin bulunduğu coğrafyaya hakim olan Memlükler, Hint denizinden Akdeniz'e uzanan tarihi ticaret yollarının kontrolünü de ellerinde tutuyorlardı. Dini ve ekonomik gerekçeler siyasi açıdan iyice yıpranmış olarak adeta dalından koparılmayı bekleyen, olgunlaşmış bir meyveye dönüşmüş Mısır'ın cazibesini daha da artırıyordu. Üstelik kendisini Haremeyn'in koruyucusu, hizmetkarı, Hadimül Haremeyn olarak bütün İslam dünyasında kabul ettirmiş olan Memlükler ciddi boyutlara ulaşan ve mukaddes yerleri tarihinde olmadığı kadar büyük bir Hristiyan tehdidi altına sokan Portekiz tehdidi karşısında hayli zorlanmaktaydı. Bütün bu durumun Osmanlıları kurtarıcı olarak öne çıkardığı ve önde gelen Arap ulemanın Osmanlılardan medet umar hale geldiği yolundaki bilgiler dikkat çekicidir. Fakat bunların doğru olup olmadığı veya hangi sebepler tahtında ortaya çıktığı konusu açık değildir. Bununla beraber Sultan Selim'in Mısır'da olup biten gelişmelerin farkında olduğunu düşünmemek için bir sebep yoktur. Hatta Mısır ulemasının ona haber göndererek buralara hakim olmasını ve Memlüklerin idaresine nihayet vermesini istediği, Mısır'a gelen Osmanlı elçilerine gizlice bu yolda mektuplar bile verildiği yolundaki bilgilerin sıhhati ve amacı tartışmaya açıktır. Fakat böyle olduğu kabul edilse bile Sultan Selim'in bütün bunlara rağmen hususi olarak Mısır üzerine bir sefer için hazırlık yaptığı yolundaki bilgiler o dönemdeki siyasi atmosfere bakıldığında gerçekçi bir zemine sahip bulunmaz. Hatta kanaatime göre Sultan Gavri bile onun Mısır'a kadar gelebileceğini hesaplamış değildi. Onun düşüncesi büyük bir ihtimalle Şam ve Halep sınırlarının Memlük idaresindeki ihtilaflı Güney Anadolu topraklarındaki şehirlerin Selim tarafından hedef alındığı yönündeydi. Dönemin bazı Osmanlı tarihçileri Mısır üzerine yürüyüşe geçirmesinin sebeplerini Sultan Selim'in Elbistan'a sınır boylarına gelişiyle ortaya çıkan siyasi gelişmelerin bir sonucu olarak tasvir ederler. Hülasa, Sultan Selim'in Edirne'den İstanbul'a gelip sefer bayraklarını açtığında hedefinin Mısır değil, sefere çıkılırken de açık şekilde belirtildiği üzere Doğu Anadolu'da meydana gelen gelişmelere karşı bir önlem almak ve eğer fırsat olursa da Şah İsmail meselesini tam olarak halletmek olduğu ileri sürülebilir. Onun düşüncesini değiştirmesine yol açan sebepler içinde Sultan Gavri'nin ordusuyla yanında Osmanlı Şehzadesi Kasım bulunduğu halde Halep'e kadar inmesi ve bu sıralarda Şah İsmail ile irtibat kurduğuna dair son derece ciddi haberlerin Safeviler üzerine ilerlerken kendisine ulaşması özellikle öne çıkar. Aslında Gavri Osmanlıların faaliyetlerini yakından takip ettiriyordu. Hatta Yavuz Sultan Selim'in Haliç tersanesini genişletme çabaları özellikle doğu sınırlarında uyguladığı ambargo ve ticaret yasağı yanında haç ve seyahat maksadıyla dahi olsa Arap ve İran topraklarına geçişi engellemesi şüphesiz Gavri'yi çok endişelendirmişti. Padişahın sınırları kapattırması daha çok Safevileri hedef alan bir uygulamaydı. Nitekim Kasım 1515'te Karaçi Sancak Bey'ine yollanan ve genel bir emir olduğu anlaşılan hükümde sınırlarda ambargo uygulandığı belirtilerek buna rağmen Arap ve Acemlerin Türklerin de Arap ve Acem kılığına girip İran topraklarına gittiklerinin belirlendiği, gerek ticaret gerekse hac ve seyahat maksadıyla olsun hiç kimsenin İran ve Arap topraklarına geçmemesi istenmişti. Evet. Da geçelim. Evet. Evet. Şöyle şey yapayım, oraya atlayıp geçeyim. Şöyle şey yapayım. Yukarı çıkayım. Zamanımız var galiba. Zaman. Evet. Zaman varsa var. Evet. Evet. Peki. Evet, biraz kısa geçelim. Evet, şuradan başlayabiliriz. Sultan Gavri'nin Abbas halifesi mütevekkil 4 mezhep kadıları, önde gelen emirler, Şehzade Ahmet'in oğlu yanında bulunduğu halde 20.000 kişilik kuvvetle 18 Mayıs'ta Kahire'den hareket ettikten sonra Katya Gölü'nü geçip oradan Gazze'ye, oradan da 19 Haziran'da Şam'a geldiğini biliyoruz. Muhtemelen Selim'in 5 Haziran'da İstanbul'dan hareket ettiğini duyunca derhal Osmanlı sınırlarına yakın olan Halep'e ulaştı. O Halep'e geldiğinde Yavuz Sultan Selim henüz Konya Ovası'nda Kayseri'ye doğru ilerliyordu. Sınır boylarındaki sancak beylerine emirlerle yollayarak Mısır Sultanı'nın durumunu ve nerede olduğu hakkında bilgi almaya çalıştı. Memlük Sultanı'nın kalabalık bir orduyla Halep'e inmesi siyasi ilişkiler bakımından önemli bir dönüm noktası oldu ve bir bakıma Yavuz Sultan Selim'in bütün planlarının değişmesine yol açtı. Aslında Gavri'nin sınır kesimine hareketi ciddi bir taktik hatası şeklinde görünebilirse de belki de mukadder olan Osmanlı tehdidinin önünü bir an evvel almak ve böylece Yavuz Sultan Selim üzerinde caydırıcı bir etki bırakmak fikriyle hareket etmiş olabilir. Safevilerle müşterek bir harekat planlandığı konusunda açık bir delil olmamakla beraber Osmanlı tarafının casuslar vasıtasıyla aldığı haberler dönemin kroniklerinde böyle bir kuvvetli ittifakın varlığı şekline dönüştürüldü. Ayrıca Venedik kaynaklarına göre Şah İsmail 60.000 kişilik askeriyle Memlüklere katılmak üzere harekete geçti. Ancak Diyarbakır ile Halep sınırları arasındaki Elbire geçidi Osmanlı askerlerince tutulduğundan ilerleyemedi. Fakat Şah İsmail'in mücadeleyi ve gelişmeleri uzaktan izlemesi, Mısır seferi boyunca da herhangi bir harekete kalkışmamış olması, Osmanlı tarafından çok abartılan Memlük-Safevi ittifakının aslında hiç de sağlam zeminlere dayanmadığını gösteriyor. Gavri bir Sünni devlete karşı Rafizi olarak adlandırılan Şah İsmail ile ciddi bir işbirliği yapmanın getireceği büyük tepkinin farkında olmalıdır. Böylece nazik bir konumdayken Selim ile savaşı en son çare olarak gördüğü açıktır. Ancak Memlük idarecilerinin Safeviler üzerine yürümek isteyen Osmanlı kuvvetlerine geçiş izni vermemesi son kertede iki taraf arasındaki bütün iyi niyetli ilişkilerin sonunu oluşturmakta gecikmeyecektir. Kısaca Osmanlıların Orta Doğu'yu kazandırma yolunda önemli bir adımı olan ve bir dönüm noktası olduğunu düşündüğümüz Mercidabık Savaşı'nın sebeplerinin o andaki konjonktür içinde bir ölçüde önceden düşünülmeyen ani hadiselerin bir bileşkesi olarak görmekte olduğumu belirtmeliyim. O kadar ki Osmanlılar Halep'ten sonra Şam'a geldiklerinde harekatı burada bitirmek istemişler ve Suriye kesiminin ve Filistin'in kontrolünü yeterli görmüşlerdir. Sultan Selim'in uzun süre tereddüt etmesinin ardında yatan sebeplerin de daha çok lojistik ve coğrafi engellere dayalı olduğu açıktır. Fakat Memlüklerin karşı harekatı ve işten dağılma gösterdikleri konusundaki kanaat ve Toman Bay'ın Osmanlı karşıtı emirlerin çözüyle hareket etmesi gibi bir dizi sebep, Osmanlı kurmaylarının bir kısmının savunduğu gibi başlayan işin yarım bırakılmasının getireceği tehlikeleri önlemeye yönelik olarak Kahire'nin yeni bir hedef haline gelişini temin edecektir. Sonuç itibariyle Mecdabık Savaşı'nın kazanılmasıyla oluşan bir dizi savaşlarla hakim olan Orta Doğu coğrafyasında Osmanlıların yaklaşık 400 yıl sürecek idareleri dönemi yaygın bir paradigma olarak ifade edildiği üzere karanlık bir devir değil, kentleşmenin, ticaretin, ekonomik ağın bütünleştiği global bir İslam dünyasının parçası haline gelişin gerçekleştirildiği bir zaman dilimini oluşturur. Osmanlı idaresi altında değişik sosyal, dini ve etnik grupların hayat tarzları eskisi gibi sürmüş görülmektedir. Elbette ki Osmanlı idarecilerinin yönetim hatalarından kaynaklanan meseleler yaşanmıştır ve her şey güllük gülistanlık değildir. Fakat bütün bunlar bu coğrafyadaki sükunetin bozulmasını engelleyecek vüs'ate ulaşmamış, arizi kalmış görülmektedir. Bugünkü Orta Doğu'nun siyasi panoramasına bakıldığında ve bir kıyaslama yapıldığında sanırım Osmanlı dönemindeki gerçek durum daha rahat anlaşılacaktır. Unutulmaması gereken bir diğer önemli husus da Osmanlıların mukaddes yerlerinin korunması misyonunu büyük bir şek ve güçle gerçekleştirip onu her türlü dış tehlikeden korumuş olmaları keyfiyetidir. Osmanlı tecrübesinin bugün acı olayların yaşandığı Orta Doğu coğrafyası için bir çare olup olmayacağı cevabı ise zamanımızdan baktığımızda hayli müphem görünür. Ama gelecek için siyasi mahfillere zannediyorum ki küçük de olsa bir ilham kaynağı teşkil edecektir. Ben çok teşekkür ediyorum. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Professor Dejane Rakuto. She is a professor of early modern Portuguese overseas history at École pratique des hautes études, section des sciences historiques et philologiques at the Sorbonne, Paris. She earned her PhD in late Byzantine history and her habilitation à diriger des recherches in early modern history of the Indian Ocean from the University of Paris 10 Nanterre in 2006. Her latest book, Sea Power Technology and Trade, Studies in Turkish Maritime History. Professor Couto is going to speak today about, the title of her paper is News of the Forefront, Portuguese Accounts of the Mamluk-Ottoman Conflict in 1516. Please join me in welcoming Professor Couto.
Thank you very much. I would like to extend my gratitude to the organizers of this conference, especially to Professor Abu Hussein and to Professor Alexis Wick for inviting me. So the aim of this paper is to examine the political process in the Eastern Mediterranean during the two first decades of the 16th century, which led to the Ottoman conquest of Egypt in 1517. As the Portuguese observed and recorded it, why them? The Portuguese had a privileged position, actors and observers simultaneously. They had an impact in the events that took place between 500 and 517. They weakened the Mamluk Sultanate and paved the way for the Ottoman conquest of Egypt. To place them in the chessboard of the Levant affairs, in order to understand what was at stake, let's remind briefly the main lines of Dom Manuel's 495-521 foreign policy in the Mediterranean. An evolution may be noticed from 1503 onwards, linked at the beginning to an utopian project or a long-lasting dream. That required the king's diplomatic energies to seize the Holy Land and to destroy the Mamluk Sultanate. Unfortunately for Dom Manuel, from the Castilian side, the second head of the Castilian monarchy, the Franciscan Cardinal Francisco Jiménez de Cisneros, had the same goal. The plan was reformed and became more ambitious around 505 with the foundation of the Estado da Índia and the settlement of permanent Portuguese bases in the Indian Ocean. From then on, to prevent the Mamluks from reaching the Indian Ocean became an obsession for the Portuguese. The attempt to blockade the Indian Ocean and to blockade the Red Sea entrance with Portuguese fleets simultaneously with the action of privateers raids in the Levantine Sea was a part of this strategy to weaken the Sultanate. Dom Manuel took advice from Dom Diogo Fernandes de Almeida, Prior of Crato, Knight of the Order of St. John of Jerusalem, who began to plunder in the Mediterranean in 502 as the captain of the religion galleys and roamed the area between Negroponte and Salonika, defeating there a well-known Turkish privateer in 503. Back in Portugal in 504, Almeida advised Dom Manuel to attack Alexandria. A strategy of communicating vessels between the Mediterranean and the Indian Ocean was then proposed. To achieve this goal, they needed, I quote, a substitute of the naval base that was lacking to carry out in the East Mediterranean the counterpart operations to those who were led in the Arabian Sea. It's worth noting that Dom Diogo de Almeida was the brother of Dom Francisco de Almeida, the first viceroy of the Estado da Índia. Increasing concern about the Ottomans. However, even if initially he underestimated the successes of Bayezid II, the Ottomans became gradually more significant in Dom Manuel's geopolitical concerns as testified by the draft contract of his marriage with Dona Maria, the eldest daughter of the Catholic kings, April 12, 500. In this contract, he was granted free access in the Mediterranean areas of traditional influence of the Kingdom of Aragon. Between 500 and 506, confronted with the increasing rivalry among the Western powers, he tried to lead the Mediterranean Crusades project, sending his best envoys to Henry VII of England, to Ferdinand the Catholic, Friar Henrique de Coimbra, to Louis XII of France, to Maximilian Habsburg, and to Pope Jules II, Saint Eduardo Calvão. His forces also took part in the expedition of Corfu in 501. In January 509, the Pope included him in the list of the requested European kings, with those of England and Scotland to participate in the crusade. His choice fell on the order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, settled in Rhodes in 309, and in Portugal between 1122 and 1128. The medieval Portuguese sovereigns pledged their protection to the order, and the knights became extremely powerful in Portugal. During the reign of Dom Manuel and the authority of the Grand Prior of France, Emery d'Amboise, 503-512, one of the more influential knights was the Portuguese Fray André do Amaral, who arrived in Rhodes in 480, the year of the famous siege, and was later appointed Great Chancellor, a position always provided in the Langue of Castile. Amaral turned out to be Dom Manuel's main informer. In 505-506, he reported already the groundwork of the 507 Mamluk expedition to the Indian Ocean, and to Diu in particular. His correspondence with the sovereign extended from 505 to 521. As a result of his news, after the naval battle of 508, the Portuguese were able to pull together their fleets in India and defeat Hussein al-Kurdi in 509. Following the demand made by the Orden in 495-96 to Biscayans and Iberian to raid in the Mediterranean, the Iberian privateers, mainly Portuguese and Catalan, looted the Aegean Sea and the Nile Delta. Amaral started as a privateer in the Aegean probably in 503, as in 504 he owned a galleon, and in 507 was allowed to arm a galleon and a galley to loot the area between Castellorizzo and the Channel of Cos. I don't have, but you see the area between in the islands and the Channel of Cos. The first objective of this extended information network, the Amaral network, which included 2 monks, Friar Diogo de Montemor, who traveled extensively in Egypt, Friar Diogo de Merida, as well as a number of secondary agents, including Genoese and Mamluks in Istanbul, was to report the preparations for the second Mamluk naval expedition to the Indian Ocean, planned for 909, with some Venetian help, artillery, and Ottoman support, wood and copper for shipbuilding. In spite of the unclear policy of Malik Ayaz, the governor of Gujarat, the Indian sultanates, namely Bijapur and Calicut, worried with Afonso de Albuquerque's first attempt to conquer Goa in February 510, and with the previous raids of Duarte Pacheco Pereira and Lope Soares de Albergaria, 503, against Calicut, and had called on their traditional ally, the Mamluk Sultan. The Calicut ambassador came to Cairo in June 5010, letter from the abbot of St. Catherine of Mount Sinai Monastery to Emery d'Amboise, June 2 and 16, 5010. Amaral penned about the Ottoman-Safavid conflict. In 511, he was already sending news to the Portuguese court about the military situation in Anatolia. The uprising of Shah Huli in the Teke province was described in detail. One of his letters, February 15, 515, includes a short, 2-folio but exhaustive description of the Chaldean battle. However, one of his main concerns was the activity of the Portuguese Álvaro Vaz da Fonseca, who deserted from the Portuguese trading post of Antwerp, disembarked in Alexandria in May-June 510, converted to Islam, and became Kansu al-Huri, spin doctor for Portuguese Indian Ocean affairs. We know that the Sultan intended to offer him the command of the new fleet of India before giving it to Kemal Reis. Fonseca, a brother of the feitor of Casa da Indian Mine, was an important individual, a member of the high nobility, was familiar with all the secrets of Portuguese India. It was thus critical to prevent him from encouraging Hansu to pursue his project. Korkut Shehzadeh was also encouraging Hansu, as Nabil al-Tikriti tells us in one of his recent articles. The Mamluk fleet was supposed to bring together 50 vessels, 25 caravels and 25 galleons, and 3,000 soldiers. Letter of Montemor to Amaral from Syria, July 17, 510. This cascade of bad news led Amaral to dismiss Philippe de Villiers de l'Isle-Adam, the captain of the Order's fleet, and attack by surprise the Mamluks in the Gulf of Bayaz, where at least 11 or 12 of the Sultan's 25 vessels at anchor to load wood were sunk or seized by the Portuguese. It seems safe to assert that this incident, well known through different sources, including the Portuguese João de Barros in this decade's earth, left Kansu with a smaller fleet and more dependent on Ottoman naval and military support. Besides, the Ottomans had copper, a decisive material for artillery and shipbuilding, leading simultaneously to a new crisis between Kansu and Venetians, weakening that more the Mamluk Sultan. Mamluks become more dependent of Ottoman naval support also, because the Venetians were encouraging them to ask for Ottomans' help, as Domenico Trevisan's mission in Cairo in 1511 demonstrates. After all, even if the Repubblica refused to help Kansu, Venice was in a good position to be a mediator. It had an agreement with the Ottomans. The capitulation concluded in 502 between Andrea Gritti and Sultan Bayezid II, renewed with his son Selim I, provided for some features of naval cooperation, access for the Ottoman fleets in Venetian harbors, and delivery of foodstuff. For the Venetians, the idea of favoring the Mamluks' dependence towards the Ottomans was also a double-edged maneuver to harm the Portuguese in the Indian Ocean. On one side, they thought, in case of a victory of the Ottomans over the Mamluks, that the Portuguese would not dare to challenge the Ottomans in spite of Dom Manuel's declared ambitions. On the other side, they were also urging the Indian sultanates to attack the Portuguese in the Indian Ocean. See the mission of Francisco Teldi in May 504 to Calicut. In spite of Kansu's retaliations against the Western communities in 513-14, and especially against the Venetian colony in Alexandria, accused of secret negotiations with the Safavids via their consulates in Syria, the Serenissima didn't help the Mamluks, who addressed, suggested by the Catalan consul in Alexandria, Philippe de Perez, the French king Louis 12th of France. But the French didn't want to interfere in such a can of worms, even if their merchants had been also mistreated, and they didn't accept the Venetian offer to become redeemers of the holy places instead of Dom Manuel of Portugal. Whatever it is, bullying the Western traders, especially the Venetians, deepened undoubtedly the economic and political crisis in Egypt. Some of the Mamluk important individuals, like Tajuddin ibn al-Diwan and the Nazir al-Jaish Mahubiddin Salam al-Aslami, were pro-Venetians, but Shihabuddin Ahmad von Abu Bakr was anti-Venetian, a rather helpful situation for Selim I. Meanwhile, the Portuguese continued to notify Lisbon about Selim's victories in the ongoing conflict against the Mamluks, annexation of the Zulkadri and the Battle of Majdabiq, conquest of Aleppo. Our best source is the report of two spies from the Emerald Network, António Leitão and Francisco Barbosa, dated from January 17, 1517, a week before the Ridania battle. Among other information, they stressed the rapidity of the Ottoman conquests and the Sultan's positive attitude towards the foreign communities. For instance, the merchants of various origins and this ecumenical attitude. Paradoxically, the Ottoman conquest of Egypt reassured the Portuguese. The situation in East stabilized to the detriment of the Venetians, the tenacious rivals of the Portuguese, and the Lusitanian crown also was aware of its contribution to the fall of the fiercest of its enemies, the Mamluks. Meanwhile, Afonso de Albuquerque had seized Hormuz in 509 and 1517, Goa in 1510, Malacca in 1511, but failed in front of Aden in 1513. In any event, the Portuguese could still lead their affairs almost quietly in the Indian Ocean for a couple of years without fearing a Mediterranean Muslim superpower. Thank you very much for your attention.
Our last speaker for this afternoon is Professor Emrah Gökhan. And Professor Gökhan is a historian of early modern Mediterranean. He took his PhD in 2012 from Georgetown University, and his thesis, his dissertation was entitled Espionage in the 16th Century Mediterranean, Secret Diplomacy, Mediterranean Go-Between, and the Ottoman Habsburgs Rivalry. He specializes in espionage. He should write a thriller, vernacular diplomacy, conversion, slavery, and so on. And today, Professor Gürkan is going to speak about the drums of war across the Mediterranean, news of the Battle of Majdabiq in Venice. Please join me in welcoming him.
Well, thank you very much. I hope you can hear from the microphone. Everything is okay, right? Well, today I will talk about the news related to the Battle of Merjidabek, but I will use a different type of source from the Ottoman and the Arabic sources at our disposal that has been used in this conference and even before that conference by many historians. So what I'd like to do is to offer maybe a couple of new perspectives, trying to study new aspects of history based on this new type of source, which is a very rich source, but it's kind of different. Well, it's not like Arabic or Ottoman sources, but also it's not only the language, but it's also the style is different. It's not a history or a gesta in the medieval sense, which most of the Sulaimnames can be categorized into. It is not a complication of government-issued documents as well. So it is something very different, which I will talk about. The source, like any good historian, I will start with the source, and then I will explain what we can learn from that. It's rather a compilation of the news arriving in Venice, but I will talk about it. And I believe my objective by using this source in Italian, in Venetian, I will try to shed light on a different aspect of the Battle of Merjidabek and answer questions which we cannot so easily answer with the sources, with the Arabic and Ottoman sources at our disposal. And I will seek answers to several questions, such as what kind of news and rumors did an event of such magnitude produce in different political and trade centers of the Mare Nostrum, whether it be Venice, Istanbul, and different parts of the Levant, and how did these news and rumors, some of which were true, some of which weren't true, they were false, how did these news and rumors travel throughout the Mediterranean, and what can we infer from them? How can we use them as a source? And this source is called the Diari, which could be roughly translated as diaries, by Marino Sanudo, who was a Venetian senator. So this Venetian senator wants to be the official historian of the Serenissima, the Republic of Venice, and for that, he's in an amateur way, he records all the correspondence reaching the Venetian chancellery. For 37 years, between 1496 and 1533, this is an important time period because this is before we have regular archival records in any European archives. The European archives, whether it be French or the Venetian or the Simancas, they generally start from the 1560s, 1570s. Dispatchy and the English and the Dutch come later. It's something to do with the spread of official diplomacy. Around that time, we do not have that kind of a series of documents. So it is something very rich. It contains official stuff, reports coming from ambassadors, commanders, governors, and admirals, but also unofficial stuffs, because Venetians were all over the place in the Levant, so all the letters written by fellow Venetians to their homeland, to their state, to their families and friends are there. They are not the actual letters most of the time, but they are the summaries, while official diplomatic correspondence can be included at times at verbatim. And there are 58 volumes. Okay, they're huge, and they have been edited in the 19th century, and they cover these 37 years, totaling 55,000 columns, which is like 27.5 thousand pages. So it's a huge thing. And Sanudo did not only attend the meetings of the Venetian Senate, but also he took part in several magistracies, because Venice is a republic of different magistracies, which provided him with access to privileged circus of information. Venice is a republic, but still they also have, they try to keep certain matters secret even from their own senators. So he is given access to this privileged information. Even he was given permission to consult government documents in the archives. Around that time, the archives weren't stuff open to normal historians. Okay, and this was a very important privilege in a republic such as Venice, a republic obsessed with secrecy. And Filippo De Vivo recently demonstrated how important it is to keep a secret in Venice. The entire system of Venetian magistracies rely on the success of keeping certain government matters secret, even from the senators. And when Sanudo's work started to get recognition, letters containing news were directly sent by the government to him so that he could record them. Okay? He could record them. Okay, and this is something important. We're not talking about Toledo. We're not talking about Milan. We're talking about the very center of information in the Mediterranean, because the Venetians are everywhere as a colony, and we'll see where they are and how connected they were. So they are everywhere. They're getting all sorts of information. And Peterburg, and even before Peterburg, Robert Montran talked about that, coined the term Centre d'information for Venice itself. And this privileged position transformed Sanudo's work from a local record to a universal chronicle. So news from all over the world is coming towards Venice. Okay, so it's not something some guy from Amasya who records what happens there. It would be also valuable, but in this case, it is some sort of has a universal aspect. And this is the cover page of Marino Sanuto. And we have a project coming from TÜBİTAK, the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey. We are going to create in the digital environment the Turkish summaries, Turkish and English summaries, like a regesta of the entries regarding the Ottoman Empire. So we already started, but it's going to be a couple of years before it's finished. And the Ottomans recently started to use Sanudo for their own ends, but even though it's a little bit too late, too little. And Necipolu, Bramet, and Ebru Turan, Vatan, they all used it, but again, most of the early modernists, because of the language barrier, cannot use this rich source. And this is a page from Sanudo. You see it says, in every redly crossed area, circled area, you see the copia di una lettera. It comes, the copy of a letter from a Signor Marcantonio Barbarigo, a captain from Vicenza. The other is a letter written by the Duchess of Urbino, and Sommario di lettere del Rettore di Venice, the letters of the governors of Verona's letters are in their summaries. So stuff like that. Or it could be just a letters, Lettere de Castelmaggiore, for instance, or it could be extracts, Estratto di lettere de Messer, something, Capitano di Cavalleggeri, the captain of light cavalry, and it could be in many forms. So these are all, it's like a newspaper reporting from all over the world about the news coming to Venice. It could be Florence, it could be Mantova, it could be Istanbul, it could be Spain, it could be Flanders, it could be many times. So I just looked at the news coming from the Levant in the year of 1516 in order to see how the battle and the campaign that preceded the battle echoed in the centers of information in the early modern Mediterranean. Well, I just told that every information is pouring from every direction, generally coming from main centers, and we can categorize them into three. First, the Venetians in the Dar al-Islam, the Venetians in the Ottoman and the Mamluk territories were, as merchants, because the Venetians had a lot of merchants there, were sending regular information. They were sending information from Alexandria, which was a major port in Egypt. There was a Venetian consul there as a merchant. And they were sending from Istanbul. There was a bailo there, who was a consul, an ambassador, and also a large merchant community who was traveling between Istanbul and Venice. But also Edirne, because when the Sultan had to go to Edirne, the bailo actually followed them. And the Selim was there before in the winter, so he was there too. In Syria, the Venetians had a consul in Aleppo, and also in Beirut and Tripolis, the Venetians had merged. The Venetians are all over the place in all these major trade centers. But moreover, the Venetians had an overseas empire, which we call Stato de Mar. They have colonies and certain islands, key positions in the Eastern Mediterranean, that provided them with information. Cyprus is one of the most important ones around this time, because most of the Venetians who ran away from the battle, who ran away the havoc that followed the battle, actually ran to Cyprus. Okay. And so all the French information will come from Cyprus. Another important key island of this empire is Crete, which was not that active around that time, but still everything that goes between Venice and Cyprus had to pass from there. And Kattarop and Parga and Spalato, these small enclaves along the Ottoman-Venetian border provided information that they acquired from Ottoman frontier officials. And there were other centers of information that fed Venetian news market with information. Ragusa being one of them, Venice's main rival in the Adriatic, another city-state and another center of information. A lot had been written by Dushche, Petitjean, Biegman, Sunduricha, and also Rhodes is another one, where there were the Knights of St. John, Catholic corsairs. And we have also a lot of letters. Huh? What çevirdi? Okay, should I speak? Anyway, stop. And the people writing from overseas, I mean, yeah, you don't have to go to detail. Just say Rhodes in Arabic. Should be Rhodos, something like that. Anyways. And these are all, okay. As I told before, while some of these reports were official, some were written by merchants and travelers to their kins. And while some relate information obtained via informants, spies, and moles, some merely relate rumors on the market, something I would call the vox populi. So it's a public rumor. And this is a subject that I would like to extrapolate on as a historian of information and news, because as a historical field, the history of information and news gets more and more attention every day in Western, especially European historiography. Even though we the Ottomanists will have a harder time reconstructing it with the sources at our disposal. Even though this is the age of print and the handwritten newsletters, which was known as Avizi, inundating all major political centers in Europe, most of the information was still obtained from oral transmission in the 16th century. In an age of limited communication possibilities, most decisions were made with imperfect information based on hearsay and the rumors in the marketplace. So the rumor is important because people rely on this, okay? So this is not, even though we have print, this is still very much important. And that's something not so easily could be studied with the manuscripts and the government-issued documents that we have at our disposal. So Sanudo can help us here a little bit. And the spread of the news of a faraway and unforeseeable battle between the two great empires of the Levant provides an interesting case study to understand the nature of public rumor and the channel through which it spread. And if we analyze the rumors reaching Venice about Merci Dabuk, we can come to a couple of interesting conclusions. The first is interesting because I detected that rumors from diverse places can be repetitive, even though these are rumors and they are not true. Even when they're wrong, they can be repetitive and consistent to a surprising extent, suggesting that rumor has an internal logic. So these people are exchanging these rumors among a limited cast of people who are repeating the same thing over and over again. For instance, several reports coincide in details around the same time, coming from different places, regarding the strength of the Safavid army in the summer and autumn of 1516. So they all say the same things. Shah Ismail has 3 sanjaks. Each sanjak means sanjak bays or like bays. Each has 20,000 soldiers, and they have 60,000 soldiers in total. So Andrea Morosini writes from Aleppo and later from Tripoli this information. Later Piero Morosini gives the information from Famagusta, and Andrea Sanudo writes his brother Antonio, this time from Nicosia to Venice. They're all repeating the same information. So from Aleppo, Tripoli, Famagusta, and Nicosia comes this rumor that's not exactly true. That's not true. That repeat itself, even though they come from different places. Another similar example is how people of different trade, writing from different places, all give the number of 500 for Mamluk casualties for the war. So this is interesting law. But again, let me repeat where they come from. One comes from the Venetian consul in Alexandria. The other comes from a letter written in September the 3rd in Beirut. The other comes from Tripolis, from a guy who ran away from Tripolis, who's writing from Famagusta. And again, only Piero Morosini, who's writing from Famagusta, provides a slightly higher number, which is 1,000 soldiers. These are numbers, writing from all these different places, which cannot communicate so easily with each other, shows us that they actually can, in a way, under the radar, in a way that we cannot see, and because they repeat the same information over and over again, even though they do not, they're not so well connected with each other. So these numbers are interestingly low, and they should be taken with a grain of salt. And I believe it should be rather taken as their criticism of Kansu Gavri, as the people's criticism of Kansu Gavri, who refused to send his own elite troops into the battle, and the Mamluk generals who fled the battlefield rather too quickly without too much of a fight. So similar criticisms were made by other historians such as Ibn Zumbul, who wrote that only 2,000 Mamluk cavalry engaged the enemy, while other sources remained aloof of direct engagement with the enemy, and it was all Council Gavri's fault. Well, while there is this consistency, there are a lot of false information regarding the Battle of Mercidabek, regarding the result of the Battle of Mercidabek. And interestingly, in our case, such news generally come from Ragusa. So Ragusa produced a huge number of false information and never, ever any correct information regarding the results of the Battle of Mercidabek. Ragusa was otherwise a very reliable source of information. It was an Ottoman vessel, but also a Catholic trading center, so in both worlds. So they generally provide very, very well, very effective information for the news market. There are the ambassadors, the envoys, official visitors who want to go to the Ottoman capital had to go through Ragusa. So that's why, as I also studied in my dissertation, there's Ottoman espionage, Habsburg espionage, all in Ragusa, all talks about the same stuff. Yet, in this case, as you can see here as well, there's all sorts of wrong information coming from Ragusa, like Selim the First killed Hersekzadeh, or that Selim was defeated and Sinan Pasha was dead, or Selim is defeated by Ismail again just a day before the battle. Even 2 months after the battle, they say allied Mamlukid and Safavid armies defeated Selim. And even they fed Rome with that wrong information. The Pope was intelligent. He waited Venice, because the Ragusa at the time produced so many false information, said, I will wait for the Venetians, okay? And then even as late as December the 2nd, they say Selim killed all the Venetians when he entered Damascus, which is not true. So there are a number of other false information so that I will not go into too much details, especially with the sometimes really given astronomical figures such as 250,000 of soldiers for Ismail. So this is the nature of Vox Populi. They exaggerate stuff. So it's not only our historians, our chronicles who make up so much numbers, 100,000 people for the armies. They also come up with. And also one rumor that repeats itself is an all-inclusive peace between the three empires, the Shah Ismail, Kansu, and Selim. And these rumors not only started in Venice, but also they reigned in Istanbul as well. Now let's see how fast did the information flow across the Mediterranean. How fast did it travel? Well, when we look at the numbers, we see that the early incident, the early news of the battle arrived in Venice in 55 days. And when we compare these numbers with the Sardellas, Pierre Sardella, Nouvelle Circulation of Venice, his numbers, the book that you see there, actually the news traveled very fast. Because according to Sardella, from Damascus to Venice, the arithmetic median of all the speed of the letters is 80 days, and from Alexandria is a little bit less of 65 days. So 55 days from Mercidabek is a very impressive record. Is impressive, but it's still below the record speed of 38 and 17 days. Again, when sailing, it is faster. From Cyprus to Venice, it takes 37 to 40 days. From Tripolis to Venice, slightly more, in 43 days. From Aleppo to Damascus, 68 days. So it takes more than 25 days to cross the land. So in the aftermath of the battle, it takes too much time to cross the land routes, but the sea is not that hostile. So instead of losing 3 to 4 weeks for the land route, the sea is open. And also Istanbul, it took only 15 days, so that's a record speed. It took only 15 days thanks to the Ottoman system of the Ottoman postal system. It cost only 15 days for the news to reach from Mercidabek to Istanbul. And well, another important question that these different reports could answer would be whether the Ottomans had the intention to attack Egypt right from the very beginning. A question addressed a couple of minutes ago, 10 or 20 minutes ago by Professor Emecan, whether Selim actually was thinking to attack Egypt right from the very beginning, or whether he decided en route based on incoming information on Mamlukid intentions, which seemed especially hostile, as Kansu Gavri chose to come to the Ottoman borders with a large army and an Ottoman prince in his presence, the son of Selim's brother and once rival for the throne, Prince Ahmed. It is hard to provide a definite answer, but it could help to know whether the Venetians saw that the war was coming, because they're otherwise very well informed. What did their baili and councils in Ottoman and Egyptian political and trade centers have to say regarding decision makers' intentions? Well, first thing I have to say is that letters from Istanbul do not mention Egypt at all. All the reports give the defeat of Sinan at the hands of the Safavids a couple of months ago as the reason why the Ottomans undertook this expedition and the reason why Selim wants to lead the expedition in person in order to help his retreating forces, which were cornered with little food by the Safavid forces. And all the remaining reports, not only from Istanbul but also from other places in the Mediterranean, such as Ragusa, Spalato, Kattaro, are concerned with an Ottoman-Safavid entanglement. They all talk about Safavids. And in the report of these officials, informed mostly by the declarations of those coming from trade centers in the Ottoman Empire, Mamluks appear only within the context of international diplomacy. That Selim sent an envoy to them and they will sign an entire Ottoman alliance with Ismail, never as a target. Okay, it never appears as a target. The first time somebody mentions that, the first Venetian who actually kind of got suspicious was the Venetian Bailo on July 12th, so that's very late because by the time his letter reached, the battle had already happened, who wrote that it was not certain where the Sultan would attack, some saying Iran and some saying Egypt. With suspicion in mind, he goes to the Kaymakam Piri Pasha only to rebuked with claims of ignorance on July 23rd. So the question is this: was Piri Pasha sincere in his ignorance? Did the Ottomans really not intend to attack Egypt at all? So I demonstrated in two separate articles, that on the one hand, the Venetian Bailo had extensive connections in the Ottoman palace, army, and the navy that furnished them with minute information regarding Ottoman military plans and foreign policy. I also argued in my dissertation that it is hard to monopolize the news market in a cosmopolitan center of diplomacy, politics, and trade. So if you want to learn, you cannot suppress information in Istanbul. Everybody is a spy, everybody is a mole, everybody's pocket is in everybody's pocket. So you cannot make sure that the secret remains secret for a long time, especially if the Venetians are involved. In another article, I also made the argument that when it comes to sensitive information, what do you do then if you can suppress it? Then I argued that what you do is to create a cacophony of rumors. You produce too much information and you inundate the news market with information. Let's say, and this is what happens before in 1570. In 1570, when the Ottomans, it's at 1570 now, it should be in 1570, right when the Ottomans decided to attack the Venetian Cyprus. They decided to attack, so they need to hide the target from the Bailo. What they did was not, because everybody was talking about Cyprus, they produced a lot of rumors talking about a Spanish Ottoman attack on Spanish Cartagena, another expedition against Tunis, another expedition against Malta. So Bailo was confused with all these different news. So in the end, he couldn't tip his government of an incoming Ottoman attack on Cyprus. So what they do was not the suppression, but the multiplication of information, creation of a cacophony. Well, so based on these two observations, here, it could be stated that the Baili would have got wind of Ottoman intentions against the Mamluks from their other sources, confidants and spies. Even though the 1570 episode demonstrated that the Ottomans proved themselves adroit manipulators of information, again, what happened there was not the suspension, rather is multiplication. So, again, as I mentioned, when all these three put together, I would conclude that the Venetians would have known if Selim had the intention of attacking. At least would have heard rumors before July 12th. This is like 3 months after the Ottomans left the capital. So I agree with Professor Emecan that he improvised on the way. In a stark contrast to this, this also shows that all these arguments in the Ottoman sources that Selim was provoked by Kansu and he did not want to attack, he did not plan to attack at the beginning, could not be later insertions in those sources in order to justify a war against a Sunni power. So, because, when an Ottoman source is in question, they are not written right at the time, so certain stuff could be inserted into it in order to justify the Ottoman position. In this case, I believe it is not so, because the Ottoman sources and Venetian sources concur with each other. In the Mamlukid Levant, on the other hand, there is a constant fear of an Ottoman attack. In Alexandria, there were rumors in January that Selim was preparing a strong armada for the incoming war season. And it was presumed that his target was Rhodos, but still they were praying lest Selim had Alexandria in mind. On April 6th, a letter from Alexandria mentions Consul Gavri's military expeditions, military preparations, while rumors reaching Alexandria from Aleppo provokes more fear. Selim would attack Syria. While such rumors circulating Alexandria and Aleppo, Rhodes was not immune to fear either. A fearful grandmaster warned the Mamluks in the winter, months before the Ottoman fleet would set sail, and in the end it would never set sail, by the way. It would remain in Istanbul, that the Ottomans were preparing an armada. Its target would be either Rhodes or Egypt. So all these news coming from not only official channels, but also Venetians coming from Cyprus waters, confirming that Selim would attack the Mamluks with a navy. So everybody was fearful. And it was such rumors that might have prompted Consul to take the initiative and undertake military preparations, which in the end, ironically, will create a security dilemma, because then this would create this would make Selim declare war. So, by a stroke of luck, the misinformation propels Consul to take action, an action which, in the end, will be misinterpreted by Selim, who will then act upon it and start a war. So, by accepting those misinformation and trying to feel himself more secure, Consul fell into a security dilemma and became less secure, and the empire crumbled. I will just briefly show you a couple of, I made a summary, so I'm not going to go through, but the first letter, the first news comes on October 18th, 55 days later, by Incerta Auctare, which means an unknown author. So it's a rumor, basically, that could not be relied on. Then, October 24th, letters from different places come from Cyprus. They all reach with the same ship on October 24th. Okay, the first one is only talking about the victory and death of Consul Gavri. The other are much more detailed, talking about the details of the, again, certain letters written by Venetians who run away from Lebanon was also included in those letters, such as Piero Morosini and Antonio Testa that I've just talked about. They also give details, numbers about letters as well. And a fifth letter that came in October 24th is actually very detailed and talks about how Mamluks were, they all the same thing. Mamluks had the upper hand. They were about to rout the Ottomans, but that they went into plunder. They started plundering, and at the moment they plundered, the Ottomans used artillery. Some was suspicious that it was a strategy, some sort of a crescent tactics. Some say this is because of Mamluk stupidity, but they all say the same stuff. That and there are a number of different ways explaining how Gavri died. Some say he couldn't get on his horse. Some say he drank something and died. They're all very detailed, and also in the aftermath of the battle, all these different information about different people, different emirs, and the Venetians in those regions are all included in those letters. Some are very consistent, and there are here and there are some rumors, but they are very much qualified, telling you which news are. Anyways, so I will finish here, but probably you will be reading those if I write a long article and include them. Maybe I don't. But anyways, thank you very much for tolerating my very bass voice. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for this lecture read at a supersonic speed. And now I would like to invite all the lecturers to come here to the... And now the floor is open to questions, comments on the three lecturers, papers. So I'm sure you want to have some explanations from Professor Gökhan, because I'm sure you missed some of the information. Anyone?
I have a question.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Is this
allowed? Can you ask me a question? Can you ask?
Is this the Andrea Morosini that will be afterwards executed because he was a spy of the Safavids?
I have no idea.
He was executed after because
That the guy who was caught in the Taurus Mountains?
Yes.
His name wasn't Andrea Morosini. His name is, I'll find it, but...
Just wonder if it was the same one.
You're referring to the...
Andrea Morosini, yes.
Or could be.
Yeah,
made a
because he
connection.
was, he had a relay in the consulates in Damascus.
You're referring to the Pietrozan article in Italian that there's this guy.
No,
who
no,
was-
I rely on the document of Simancas, on Andrea, on
I
Morosini.
have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know his name. There are too many people. Could be. I don't
Okay.
believe around that time because that happened in 1510s. Before that.
No,
war.
no, but he has been executed later. You know, much
I
later,
don't-
10 years after or something
I
like
have no
this.
idea, no.
Okay.
I have no idea. But I can find. Control F, and we'll have a look at it when he died. It's something that.
ممكن احكي بالعربي مترجم ولا كيف؟ Can I
Yeah.
pose a question in Arabic or they will translate it?
You can ask in Arabic. I will not.
French also, Arabic is
لا،
okay.
بخصوص مجد دابق وعام 1516 يقول التاريخ اللبناني أنه وصل السلطان سليم ولاقاه بعض الأمراء اللبنانيين في دمشق أو في البقاع في تلك الفترة، وهناك خلاف على من كان في لقاء السلطان سليم، وكان هناك خلاف بين فخر الدين وبعض الزعماء، فخر الدين الأول. فهل أثناء عملك لديك معلومات عن من استقبل السلطان سليم الفاتح في عام 1516 حين وصل إلى دمشق ولاقاه بعض الزعماء أو بعض الأمراء من جبل لبنان؟ لأن هناك في التاريخ اللبناني خلاف على هذا الأمر.
Okay, I only got the second part, but I think I understood the question you asked. Who? Okay. Anyways, I've seen certain names because I'm not a historian of the Mamluk, so I didn't. There's this Yunus Pasha going on, but I can look it up. Because there were reports used to mention those names, but for me there is no conflict because I didn't know the historiography beforehand, so I didn't check. But there may be something. Yunus, there's this Yunus guy that they mentioned. But for me, I'm a historian of the 16th century Mediterranean. So for me, any Memluk name apart from Kansu, it took me 4 days to realize Barutta was Beirut. So I'm not. And it was so stupid. I asked somebody else. He said it is maybe who? I asked,
Maybe Professor Emmerich.
Professor Emecan might know, but in those sources there might be. So I can take a look if you give me some names, because the first part I kind of. Hocam bu şeye girenleri nereye giriyor? Evet, siz çevirin. Benim.
Bir Arapça sorunun mahiyeti şöyleydi hocam. Diyor, Lübnan tarihinde şöyle bir olay zikrediliyor. Bu Mercidabık Savaşı'nda, yani Lübnan da askerlerinden ve Lübnan idarecilerinden de Kansukari, Guriye ya da Selim'e yardım edenler varmış diye söyleniyor. Bu konuda bir malumat var mı?
Ha, ben soruyu şimdi ben öyle anlamamıştım. Yardım eden mi diyorsun?
Yardım eden ve yani
Ha, yardım-
ellezine yed'umune yani muasker Sultan el-Guri.
La, who met there is a
Savaştan önce gidip yardım eden, görüşen falan var diyorsanız mevzu miktarda var.
Tafaddal.
Can I resolve this problem? Because it is no longer an enigma, in fact. Hopefully, when we go on Saturday on our trip, I'll show you the mosque where there is an inscription, which actually the late Professor Kamal Salibi, my mentor, had written an article on, and this is it is called "The Secret of the House of Man." Fakhruddin, the so-called Fakhruddin Ma'an the First, was not alive at the time of Marj Dabiq. He had
Yeah,
already
Fahrettin
died.
Maan is like 17th century, right?
He had died in 1506, 10 years before. And the people who met with Sultan Salim in Damascus, according to the Maronite patriarch historian Dwayhi, were Korkmaz Ma'an, and some 3 Buhtarid Amirs, all of them Druzes, and an Assaf Amir who was a Turkoman from Kisirwan. So this is an answer to this question. But I wanted also to say something, since I have the microphone now, maybe I'll monopolize it. In connection with the 2 papers, the papers of Imra and Professor Imogen. In fact, it's interesting because, of course, I mean, we don't know what the intentions of Sultan Salim were when he went out of Istanbul. But I don't think he took the decision rather abruptly. And what Imra said about this diffusion of news, so many news that he is heading this way, was part of probably his strategy to confuse the enemy.
No, that was in 1570. That's what I'm saying. He would have done like
But
that.
yeah,
he didn't.
but if he has done it, if it was done then, probably it was done earlier too, because it doesn't make sense that, I mean, Salim the first just went out of Istanbul and didn't know where he was going. I mean, that's...
No, he was going to the Safavids. He was going against the Safavids. That's
Yeah,
the argument.
but I mean, how did he change his mind and headed south instead? I mean, what
you can do that actually. I don't know.
change direction?
The other question is, how about the logistics? I mean, whether they left and the war in Najd in August and the war in Cairo in 1517.
He couldn't have foreseen that Kansu was coming to Aleppo. When Kansu was at Aleppo, there is no possibility of scourge or tactics. Cairo, you cannot say, I will go to
The question
Cairo.
is, Feridun Bey may know this. How about the logistics and preparations? And the preparations, does it show anything, the duration of war and how much the Ottomans were prepared, the war logistics and the others, and technology they brought with them?
Şimdi şöyle, yani bu aslında harekatın boyutu önceden tasarlanmış olsa çok daha ciddi hazırlıkların yapılmasını gerektirecek bir şey. Çünkü o dönemler için düşünüldüğünde yani İstanbul'dan Kahire'ye kadar bir sefer yapmak, sefer icrası çok kolay bir şey değil. Yani bugünkü şartlar altında düşünmemek lazım. Dolayısıyla oradaki tasarlanma işi için daha farklı hazırlıklar gerekiyordu. Öncelikle çok önemli.
Yolda destek mi alıyordu onu demek?
Efendim?
Yani yolda mı destek?
Hayır, şöyle şimdi asıl problem şurada. Yavuz Han Selim çıktığı zaman sefere amacı zaten belli. Yani doğuda çok ciddi problemler var. Bu problemleri ortaya koyan da hiç şüphe yok ki bu Diyarbakır meselesi, Karahanlar, Safevilerin ciddi problemler çıkarmış vaziyetler. Onların kontrolü gerektiği için onunla alakalı haberler geliyor ve devamlı bir şekilde ordu ve yardım halinde bulunmuyor oradaki Osmanlı idareciler tarafından. Durum aciliyet kazandığı için sefere çıkılıyor. Yoksa hedefte Memlüklere çıkacak bir şey yok. Zinde bir problem yok ki Memlüklerle ilgili. Bütün mesele Safiyeleri önlemek amaçlı bir şey. Fakat benim tezim Kansu Gavri tabii tarihte eğer olmaz mı ama eğer Halep'e gelmemiş olsaydı o hareket oradan o kadar ileri gideceğini hiç tahmin etmiyorum. Çünkü o göze alınacak bir şey değil. Mecdabık'ta Memlük ordusunun dağılması ilerideki yani Kahire'nin kaderini belirlemiş oldu.
Can somebody give us a short English summary
all right.
of what has been said?
So basically, it would have required immense preparations for an expedition against Cairo, and something basically wouldn't have happened if the war wouldn't have happened if Kansu didn't come until Aleppo, so north, and yeah, pretty much that was it. All these logistical questions that show us that he wasn't planning on that, and also there's something else. He took the fatwa. He sent an ulama back in order to take a fatwa in order to attack against the Sunni power. He could have had the fatwa right at the time when he left Istanbul. He didn't have to send anybody back, send back anybody. Also, there are a lot of examples when an army goes to attack a certain power and then ends up attacking not another in the sea or in the land. There are lots of examples. The thing is, in 1514, after 1514, the Safavids will always refuse battle. It's a scorcher's tactic, and they will not. But when you have Kansu with an Ottoman prince so near, and you can actually find him, I mean, that's that's something that you won't get. If Consul stayed in Cairo, maybe he wouldn't be able to go until Cairo with the logistical possibilities.
Okay, next.
The debate on the expedition of Salim to Cairo is a very interesting one. I think that we have to look on the situation inside the Mamluk Sultanate at that time. The Sultanate was collapsing. Local histories of the Sultanate in different provinces are proving that security was not there, the economy was collapsing, and the administration was totally corrupted. Now, this is a form of vacuum that was created in a very sensitive area, which is the Levant. Now, you have three major powers who could fill that vacuum. First, the Western powers, regardless whether they are the different Western forces inside the islands of the Mediterranean, including Venice or Portugal from the one side. Then you have the Safavids and the Ottomans. So one of them have really to attack this collapsing power in order to fill the vacuum. The Ottomans, I think, they collected all of the cards that they could play, invaded the northern Syria, and I think from the beginning, leaving Istanbul, it was clear that they are heading towards Cairo. Thank you.
My question is to Emrah Safa Gürkan. During the campaign, during Selim's campaign to Egypt, when he got close to Gaza, he abruptly turned to Jerusalem to visit the holy places. He visited the tombs of the Abrahamic prophets and saints, and he was also in Hebron, in Halil Rahman. He visited the prophetic tombs. So this is quite a crucial event, and I'm curious, whether, in what way these visits have been reflected in the Venetian documents. Thank you.
I think they were mentioned once at one place, and just not so much in detail, because they wouldn't understand. They don't, because these are technical stuff. For Venetians, this is just a Venetian market. The Sanudo would be interested in recording where the army was, where Selim is. So any religious, all these detailed, fine technical stuff will be suppressed in the registered version in Sanudo. So there's not much on that. It doesn't talk about its importance and stuff like this. Or from a Catholic senator's point of view, who's reporting one day, who's recording one day news coming from Flanders, and again he changed something from North Africa. This is, he just mentioned them at, if I'm not mistaken, at one place. He said Selim went to these holy places and blah blah. But then at the summary of the letter that said that, he didn't give too much detail. Maybe the original letter gave many details, but he didn't.
Because there was the Custodia della Terra Sancta. These Franciscan ribats were there. Okay, these chains of hostels, and they were in a sense acting as agents also.
When did Selim? Do you remember the month?
The winter of 1516, the early 1517.
But
December 1517.
I didn't cover this. I didn't cover 1517. I'd be happy to look at it for you. Yeah, but it will reach in, let's say, February. It takes another 2 months for the news to reach. So I may look at it. It's really easy because we have Control F. You just write Sancta Terra. But I haven't studied those pages.
And then the Saint Martin.
دكتور فوازة، أستاذ بالعلوم الاقتصادية. أنا ماني مؤرخ ولا دارس التاريخ، درست الطيران ودرست الاقتصاد، ولكن بنظر للتاريخ مثل مدقق الحسابات، يعني الأوديتور. بفتكر محاضرتك صار شي ساعة والأسئلة إنه سليم كان عنده استراتيجية أو كان عنده هدف إنه يهاجم مصر أو لا. سمعت انه طلب فتوى انه لا يهاجم قوى سنيه او لا. عم بسأل نفسي هل كانت تركيا او هل كان السلطان سليم او هل كان جيش السلطان سليم سني؟ انا مش متأكد. هي نقطة. ليش اخذ المذهب الحنفي لتصير الخلافة له حلال؟ شو قصة المجزرة اللي صارت ببغداد انقتل فيها بين 20 و30 و40 ألف من جنود الانكشارية؟ تاريخ بعيد نفسه أبدا. نفس الأشخاص اللي بيجيبوا قوى خارجية لتساعدهم عنا هون هن ذاتهم كانوا موجودين، لأنه أخلاقيات الشعوب وعقلية الشعوب ما بتتغير ب100 سنة و200 سنة و300 سنة، بتاخذ آلاف السنين لتغير عقلية الشعوب. يعني اللي عم بسأل نفسي أنا، ما في حدا هيك كان بمصر بعد ما بلشت الدولة تنهار المملوكية وما عادت تقدر تضبط الوضع كدولة سنية أو كخلافة سنية، إنه قالت له السلطان سليم دخيلك تعال منعطيك هل بدك والخلافة بس خلصنا. هيدا سؤالي. جاي أعمل مشاكل أنا دكتور.
Professor Gürkan is answering your question.
It's a truism to say that Sunni powers do un-Sunni stuff or Catholic powers do un-Catholic stuff. It's a truism. It's obvious. And there is no love lost between me and Selim I, so he did a lot of obnoxious stuff. I would have locked my door if he came in my neighborhood. But yeah, you're right. But apart from that, I can't see a question here. I agree. If that's gonna.
So yes, last question. Okay, I want to also go to this larger question of what was planned in 1516 and what were the results. And I think that one problem here is that you're actually dealing with this information chaos before. I think that both the Venetian sources and the Portuguese sources, they might give a new picture, but you have to look at them afterwards. And at least that's what I see in the Syrian sources of the time, is you see that there is something planned, but you see it afterwards. Because before, everyone sees just the Mamluks going up to Aleppo, and I don't agree with you that he had to turn to Aleppo because Kansouch al-Rauri was there. I agree with you that it was a bad decision for him to be there. But it means that, that this whole misinformation didn't really play out in these terms. And maybe it was even part of the plan to lure him to Aleppo. And I would definitely say that, we should give Selim credit as a statesman that he knew exactly where he wanted to go when he set out from Istanbul. And if I remember correctly, there are reports of Ottoman ships appearing on the Lebanese coast soon after, maybe in 1517 or maybe already in 1516. And there has been...
Not in 1516.
And as I said, I don't remember that correctly. But if we look at the measures that Selim takes once he is in Damascus, it's astounding. He has the bureaucrats with him to do a survey of all the taxable land, all the endowments that are there.
Yeah, but he was on an expedition. It wasn't that he went on a resort. And
it's a very different thing. If you either he wanted to annex Iraq, which is a possible course of things, but I still doubt that you have all the scribes who produce all the books and want to make a lasting conquest, and then you say no, we don't go there, about which we we wanted, and we go somewhere
you're
else.
Nobody's saying that they didn't go to conquer any place. The issue is whether they're going to attack. He planned to attack the Safavids or the Mamluks. In either case, if he had it in mind or he didn't have it in mind, he would have scribes with him anyways. This is an army. The army goes with the scribes. The scribes don't only register the lands. Moreover, the argument of actually which Professor Emeja made, and I'm just saying the Italian sources concur with what he came up with.
Or with what you proposed in your PhD.
What?
Or with what you proposed in your PhD, that they basically follow the misinformation.
I said what in my PhD?
That the Italian sources follow the misinformation laid out by the Ottomans, or laid out just by people who were thinking like what's happening here.
Okay, we have
Well-
to be more systematic. Just the first, the presence of scribes doesn't mean anything. And nobody is saying that they didn't go anywhere, they didn't lead an expedition. Selim didn't lead an expedition just for fun. He wanted to conquer a place. The issue is whether he had Mamluks in mind or Safavids in mind. And the argument was he had Safavids in mind. The argument I made, the Italian sources concur with the argument made by Professor Mejan, that, and they concur. Apart from that, you may agree or not, but you have to bring proofs.
But what about the betrayal of one of the leaders of the Mamluk flank at Majdabek? I mean, like such a relationship that you get like Khayyarbek to switch sides
Let me
is
translate
like
to him.
requires a certain amount of preparations.
Yeah, well,
Second thing is, ikincisi de madem önceden karar vermemiş, önceden karar vermemiş, nasıl ihanetini sağladı Memlük ordularının sağ kanadı tamamen ihanet etti diyor.
Yok, şimdi birincisi Osmanlı sefer düzenini bilmek lazım. Osmanlı sefer sisteminde, evet Osmanlı yani bütün bürokrasi...
That's an answer to your question actually, yeah.
Osmanlılar da yani sefere çıkırken bütün bürokrasi seyyar olarak zaten çıkar. Bütün Osmanlı seferlerinde bu böyledir.
So all the bureaucracy, all the scribes follow the
fark
Ottoman
etmez.
army wherever they go.
Bu yani onu göstermez, önceden hazırlık yapıldığını bir yere, yani belli bir niyeti olduğunu. Bütün seferlerde bu böyledir. Hem batıya yapılsın hem doğuya yapılsın, hiç fark etmiyor.
Whether it be east or west, they all
Yani seyyar bir
follow.
bürokrasisi vardır ve yerine vekiller bırakılır ve bütün defterler, her türlü muamelenin yapılacağı bir şekilde gider. Bununla alakalı çok iyi bildiğimiz bir şey bu. Osmanlı tarihini arşivde çalışanlar bu konuyu çok iyi bilirler. Bu gerekmez, yani bu şart değildir. İkinci olarak bu Memlük ordusunun çözülmesi aslında şeyli vasıtasıyla değil. Bunu İbn İyas'ı okuyanlar ve ondan başka kaynakları okuyanlar çok iyi bilirler. Memlük ordusunun çözülmesi Gavri'nin Karanisa ve Cülban arasındaki münasebetler arasından kaynaklanıyor.
Hold on.
Onu söyleyeyim.
Ibn Iyas and others, those who read Ibn Iyas and others would know that actually the collapse of the Memlükid army comes from these internal divisions between neydi onlar? Cülban and Kara whatever işte. Yani these two.
Karanisa.
So it doesn't come from a treason.
Bir başka önemli konu da şu, bu şimdi bu ordunun çözülmesi meselesi, mesela deniyor ki Arap uleması ve Halep'teki ulema Osmanlılara haber gönderdiler, işte ittifak yapacağız diye. Onu söyleyeyim.
So they called, they informed Selim that the Turkish says that they informed Selim for an alliance that we want to ally with you certain emirs.
Fakat yaptığımız tespitlere göre bu tamamen yanlış bir değerlendirmeden kaynaklanıyor. Çünkü bu müracaatlar ilginç şeyden sonra, Mecdabık Savaşı'ndan sonra.
But this is wrong. All these demands, all these requests, all these offers of alliance or cooperation or volte-face or about-face comes after the Battle of Mercidabık, not before the Battle of Mercidabık.
Elimizde bir mektup var. Elimizde bir mektup var. Evet. Elimizde bir mektup var. Mektubun tarihi de belli. Mektubun tarihini yanlış değerlendirildiği için hem Türk araştırmacılar hem de
So there's a letter who was misdated,
Halep'ten
and
gelen
that created all this confusion in Aleppo. Again, after the conference, maybe you can just exchange. It's just getting too technical.
I just wanted to add something about the way the information is collected. You have this impression of misinformation, or intoxication, but you have also reliable and accurate information in all these chaos. Like you said, you just have to make a confrontation of the sources. Because the problem was the way it was collected, in all these areas and harbors. You have, of course, different levels of population giving the information from people that were attached to administration, but you had also simple sailors and people that absolutely... that's why you had so many rumors. So you have to make yourself the distinction between the different ways to collect the information and who was giving the information also. This is also another... So this can explain many of these apparent chaos of information. But I think in the end you must consider that we have also very good and accurate information about the situation in this case particularly. For example, the Portuguese sources, they follow very much this information of the 500 Mamluks killed.
They do that?
Yeah, they do. So, if we put the different sources, the Italian, the Portuguese, the Spanish, the Arabic, in the confrontation, we think we'll have some surprises. It's not all false information and you have also accurate ones.
Well, I think we shouldn't repeat the fact that they lost the war with only 500 casualties, because they're going to kill us. Yeah, you guys fought well. It's not
Yeah, but in different points.
in different
they are the same, They say the same.
Emircan hocama soracağım. Rahat tercüme sual بعدين. Bu soru benim değil. Burada Lübnan'da bana çok sorulan sorulardan birisidir. Çok basit gelebilir ama çok önemlidir. Osmanlı Devleti bir Sünni devlet miydi? Osmanlı ordusu bir Sünni ordu muydu? Çünkü biliyorsunuz onlar Bektaşi oldukları için kesin Şiidir. Bu konuyu izah etmeniz çok önemli. Basit gibi gelebilir ama çok önemli. السؤال ليست لي، السؤال لكثير من المؤرخين اللبنانيين سألوني هل كان الدولة العثمانية دولة سنية؟ وهل الجيش الانكشاري جيش سني؟ لأنهم اعتقادهم بكتاشية، وأستاذ فواز بحث عنه، فأرجو الجواب.
To whom is your question addressed?
Not me.
To Professor Ebece. So please, go ahead.
Şimdi bu kategorik bir ayrım çok zor. Bu tarihte bunu yapmak kolay değil. Yani Osmanlıların dini temayülleri itibariyle Sünniliğin çok açık bir şekilde ifade edildiği dönemler yok mu? Var. Fakat bu retorik söylemle uygulamalar arasında çok ciddi farklılıklar var. Osmanlı ordusuna bakıldığında Osmanlı ordusunun terkibi içerisinde farz-ı muhal gayrimüslim unsurların bir dönem için çok ağırlık kesbettiğini gösterdiğini de biliyoruz. Yani bu tıpkı daha önceki Gazar tartışmalarına benziyor bir ölçüde. Bu noktada Osmanlı noktayı nazarı uygulamalarla retorik olarak söylenenler arasında çok büyük farklılık var. Kaynaklara indiğinizde baktığınızda bunu çok açık olarak görüyorsunuz. Bir ikincisi Osmanlıların daha ziyade Sünni Hanefi uygulamalara ağırlık vermeye başladıkları dönemler normal olarak bakıldığında bilhassa 16. yüzyıldan itibaren başlayan süreçler ve daha ziyade de bu Safeviler olan mücadele ve hemen ardından Osmanlıların kendi kimliklerini ortaya koyabilmek için Safevilere karşı gösterdikleri bir durum gibi gözüküyor. Yoksa bunu geniş olarak kendi coğrafyası içerisinde Osmanlıların hem Şii, Alevi temayüllü gruplar, Kızılbaş temayüllü gruplar, pek çok grup var. Bunların yaşama şansı olmazdı. Demek istediğim şey Osmanlı sisteminde onların kendi içerisindeki yerleri olduğunu ve onlara bu anlamda kendi gruplarını kendi içerisinde yaşamalarına imkan verdiğini biliyoruz. Bu Balkanlarda da böyle, Anadolu'da da böyle. Farz-ı muhal yani bir Safevi İran'ında Caferilikle beraber başlayan süreçte bizim vaktiyle Şah İsmail'in düşüncesini taşıyan Gulat-ı Şii dediğimiz gruplar yaşayabilir miydi acaba? Onlar döndüler, Caferiliğe doğru bir dönüşüm kesbettiler. İran'da böyle bir durum olurken Türkiye'de böyle bir şey olmadı. Türkiye'deki Alevi gruplar kendi varlıklarını sürdürdüler. İnşallah anlatabilmişim.
راح أحاول باختصار شديد جدا أن الدولة العثمانية صحيح في بعض المعاملات دولة سنية وبالأخص بالمذهب الحنفي يتصرف وبعض المرات ممكن يخرج عن خارج نطاق هذه التصرف وبالأخص بعد القرن السادس عشر. Sadece bu özellikle Yeniçeri'nin Bektaşi hikayesi çok sorulur bana. Yani Bektaşiler Şii midir, Sünni midir? يعني بالأخص الجيش الانكشاري والطريقة اللي بيتبعوها الطريقة البكتاشية أسئلة كثيرة يطرح في هذا المجال. Cevap verirseniz çok memnun olurum.
Şimdi bu Bektaşilik problemi
Bu Bektaşilik meselesi bildiğimiz anlamda yani bizim 16. yüzyılda kendisini gösteren tarzdan bir anlayışa dönüşmüş Bektaşilik değil. Malum Bektaşi'nin geçirdiği süreçler var. O süreçlerden önce zaten Ocak kendisini Bektaşiliğe bağlıyor idi. Ama bu dini inanış veya şeyler nazarında nasıl söyleyeyim ibadetler çerçevesinde olan bir şey değil. Bu da ileri vadede retorik bir hale geldi. Yani bu şekilde geleneğe dayalı bir durum ortaya çıktı. Aşık Paşazade tarihinde bununla alakalı çok enteresan bilgi var. Buradan da anlıyoruz yani bunu. Ya bu çok kategorik olarak bakıldığında işte onlar kendilerini Bektaşiliğe bağlıyorlar. Efendim işte falan o tarz bir ibadet ve eğilim içerisinde olabilirler diye bir şey yani konu bu çerçevede buna oturmuyor. Onu demek istiyorum. Bambaşka bir şeylerden bahsediyoruz. Onların anladığı Bektaşilik başka bir Bektaşilik. Yani bildiğimiz anlamdaki Bektaşilik değil. Onu demek istiyorum. Evet.
Bunu tercüme etmek çok zor.
Bir alakası yok.
الأحسن تتعلمون اللغة التركية. الطريقة البكتاشية بالمفهوم الديني ليست كما تتصورونه أنه مذهب أو طريقة شيعية. لا، إنما أكثر شيء هي من التصرفات والعادات والتقاليد التي يتبعها الشعب التركي بالمنطقة لحد القرن السادس عشر، وقبله أيضا يختلف. بس هاي الموضوع يحتاج إلى دراسة طويلة جدا، يعني صعب جدا أن أشرحه بدقيقة واحدة هيك. لحظة.
مساء الخير. أنا الذي شغلني في مرج دابق والحرب على المماليك هو مسألة شرعنة الحرب. شرعنة الحرب على مسلم. legitimization of the war against Muslim. بقدر ما كان الأمر واضحا بالنسبة للصفويين عندما أراد سليم أن يتوجه بالحملة على الصفويين استصدر فتوى من شيخ الإسلام واضحة فيها أن هؤلاء مارقون وكفار وبالتالي يجب محاربتهم. فيما يتعلق بالمماليك غاب هذا الأمر، لم تكن هناك فتوى واضحة تتعلق بالحرب على المماليك، وإنما ترك الأمر للعمل الميداني خلال الحملة. فخلال الحملة كان العثمانيون يقومون بإقناع العرب على أن سواء في الشام أو في مصر على أن المماليك كانوا مقصرين في حماية الطرق إلى الحج وفي مواجهة البرتغاليين. فإذا هذه طريقة لتجويز الحرب على مسلم. إذا المسألة أنا الذي يشغلني هو هذه القضية، قضية عدم قيام العثمانيين باستصدار فتوى واضحة منذ البداية فيما يتعلق بمرج دابق. وشكرا.
Şimdi bu fetva hakkında kısa bir bilgi vereyim. Alınan fetvada ne Harameyni'nin tehlikeye düştüğü, ne Portekiz tehlikesi var idüğü gibi herhangi bir konu yok. Fetvada çok açık olarak alınan husus şu: Safevilere yardım eden bir kimse ne olursa olsun İslam'dan aykırı olduğu için onun cezalandırılması gerekir. Yani dinden sapmış birine yardım eden de onun gibidir mentalitesi içerisinde bir değerlendirme yaparak onun üzerine seferi meşru kılıyorlar. Sebep sadece bu. Başka hiçbir sebep yok.
Zaten ben ne kadar yazdırsam o önemli. So the fatwa does not mention anything about the Indian Ocean or the Portuguese threat on Mecca and Medina. It explicitly says the only reason why the Ottomans are allowed, the Ottomans are justified legitimately attacking, are because the Mamluks are helping the Rafizis, the Safavids, as heretic Muslims, these heretics. So it cannot be related. I mean, from the legitimacy point of view, okay. Helping a Rafizi is good enough to be attacked. I mean, from that logic. Not, I'm not saying that. You can help any Iranian you like. I don't. It's the logic. So, if you have no other questions,
we would like to thank our lecturers. And on behalf of our president, the president of AUB, I would like to invite you all to join the celebration of our 150th anniversary. And this is the end of all the celebrations that took place this year. So you are all welcome to join.